Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Dealer Destro back from the depths, and it's been way too long. Just wanted to make this quick intro video to let y'all know I'm kicking off the relaunch of my channel, and we're going to start the relaunch with the G.I. Joe Classified series. I'm calling this the Dark Energon Wave because there's like an overarching theme that's taking place right now, and I am really excited. They finally are incorporating Transformers and G.I. Joe into the same universe in the toy line, and I see nothing but good things ahead. So with that said, welcome to the channel. Let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome to the kickoff, and we're going to get started by talking about the packaging. And what I find interesting is the controversy around the packaging. I see both sides of it from a business perspective. Maybe Hasbro had to make a decision to do away with the windows. However, we know they're bringing the windows back because we've seen the pre-orders for Mutt and Junkyard and Metalhead go up, and those are shown with the windowed packaging. However, I'm a guy where the glass is kind of half full, so I like to give credit where credit is due. And what I'll say is, despite being windowless, I don't really mind this packaging at all. And the reason for that is it does a lot of things. Number one, it captures the essence of the character. I love the fact that they're incorporating diorama scenes, they're posing the figures in them to kind of supplement not being able to see the actual product, which I get, that is a legitimate concern. However, I love the fact that they're presenting the loadouts. You've got this nice artwork here. Again, the loadout, so you can make sure you get everything you need to get in the box. And one thing that really stands out about this specific diorama scene is you see here that these purple crystals, he's pretty much exposed to them. And what that is raw, unrefined Dark Energon. So I'm really interested to see how this story is going to play out in the background. So having said that, turning the packaging to the side, you get some more pronounced artwork, which looks amazing. The artwork has been on point for this line since the relaunch. Looking at the back of the packaging, you sort of get this scaled view, and you see here there's a chart that shows the height, and it says the figure is 6.3 inches, and I'm guessing that translates to 6'3" in real life. What's neat about that is this guy, there's like an army of these guys. So I don't know where Cobra's finding these guys. I don't know if they're using to recruit these guys, but this is the build of a guy who eats red meat breakfast, lunch, dinner. No questions asked. And if he's lucky, maybe he gets some healthy carbs in the form of like a white rice or something to help sustain those gains. So yeah, so really interesting that they're bringing in the height dynamics into the packaging as well. Once again, you see the loadout, and then you get some close-ups of the Tampograph Cobra insignia and a close-up of the head sculpt, which is very, very remarkable, to say the least. So that's really it for the packaging. Again, I'll give credit where credit is due. Props to the team that they've got doing the dioramas. I think they're doing a great job capturing the essence of the characters. And with that being said, we'll come right back and we'll get into the main product. All right, so we're back. Before we talk loadout, though, I had a thought. And that thought is, let's hold ourselves accountable. So, the packaging says 6.3 inches, right? Well, let's see where he actually clocks in at. And it looks like he is actually taller than 6 inches, as you can see from there. So, it looks like the measuring scale on the back of the figures does check out, which is a plus. I mean, that's always a good thing when, what's advertised is what's delivered. So props where props are due. All right, that being said, let's get right into accessories. So his backpack is probably one of my favorite accessories that he comes with. It has a notch here for his pickaxe to connect to. Wonder what this is for, huh? Might have something to do with that Dark Energon on the front of the packaging, you know what I'm saying? All right, so the backpack, again, is great. I love that it has this recessed paint applications in here, and then there's like a graph on the back of it, and I'm assuming, this is my assumption, you know what I'm saying, that it's measuring energon levels. Just a thought, nothing, don't take that to the bank, but that's just where my brain goes when my when I'm left to my use my imagination. So also it has a built-in radio with the antenna. Wonder if that has something to do with the televipers just dropping. And then the case here, the canister here, this is a throwback to the vintage gimmick where the tube plugs into the back of the helmet. Except for the vintage, it was this plugged into a peg on the back of the unit's head, and then the tube went and plugged in about to the middle of the backpack. The bullets, again, with the ammunition being a theme for this figure, love the way that they're sculpted on here. Love that they're slotted into these little, I guess, built-in bandolier strap. And the sculpting, again, on this thing is great. One thing to note is that you turn the backpack around, there's a recessed notch here. What that's for is his grenade launcher can plug right into that, and it serves as a storage component for the grenade launcher. With that being said, I guess let's just get right back into the grenade launcher. So this is an original throwback. It came with the vintage figure, so this is what we'd expect to see as part of his loadout. Love the sculpt detail on this. Love that they're sculpting in the rails. Love that they're sculpting in the optics. Two things to call out here, though. Actually, before I do that, this swivels, which is nice. So two things to call out here, though. The first thing, number one, the optics on these gun units look a little dead. And one area that they could really improve this is the finish that they put on Snowjob's goggles. If they just dabbed a bit of that paint there and there, it would really make these units pop a little bit more than what they already do, and it just make them seem more alive. The second thing, this is an implied tactical stock. I want to see some more action out of this. I mean, it's G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe is known to take it to the next level. This is one area where I think they could do themselves a little more service and actually incorporate the functionality of the tactical stock. Should be noted, the barrel is compatible with some of the blast effects that we've seen released with some of the multi-packs, specifically the Viper 3-pack. One also thing to note, though, too, the way that this is sculpted and the size of this round, there's no way this round is making it out the barrel. So I'm just calling it out. It's a bit of a nitpick, but I have to point these things out where I see them. So he also comes with a pistol with an extended mag, again, with ammunition being a theme for this figure, right? He's a wilderness trooper. On the old school file card, it says they're responsible for their own munitions, food, etc. So it kind of checks out that once deployed into the wilderness, they would be deployed with a lot of ammo. Once again, the barrel is compatible with the blast effects here. So moving on through, he does come with a newer loadout, and this is sort of an homage to the vintage 25th. It's weird to say that out loud because in my mind, the 25th was like 6 years ago. Not the case, though. So comes with a heavy machine gun. And again, the sculpt work, the notches that are all in here look great. The rail system, again, the only complaint that I have, or the only piece of feedback I have, is make these optics come to life a little bit with that extra paint. Y'all can do it. You can do it, Lenny. Fix it. So should also be noted that the ammo pack does detach from this to get it to tap back in. You can feed the bullets into the side, and then it clips back in underneath. And that is the machine gun that he comes with. He also comes with a dagger, which is a throwback to, again, the vintage. The vintage one did come with sort of this sai/dagger. Imagine skewering some rabbit over a fresh made fire using your dagger. Okay. He also comes with a scarf. I don't know what this is for or what this serves given the environment that he's in. Perhaps one could find a water source, wet this, and cool off from all that radiation exposure to the Dark Energon. I don't know. Just a thought. Lastly, he comes with a bullet bandolier. This is pretty standard issue for the line, cast in a nice like bronze / like brownish plastic with the black paint app to imply the bullet bandolier. So all in all, really good loadout. We'll be right back and we'll start getting into the actual unit itself. All right, everybody, moment of truth. Now we get into the core product offering. And all I can say is my initial thoughts when getting this guy out of the package was, holy crap. This dude looks great. Fantastic all the way around. One thing that I noticed as well is with this guy, I don't have any of the major joint tolerance issues that I'm starting to see with some of these figures. So what I mean is, like, when I go to pose him, he's not fighting me. I don't feel like I'm gonna break anything. I don't get the heebie-jeebies when I'm bending his joints, because for whatever reason, he's constructed in that sweet spot. And hopefully they can figure out how to crank more of this off the assembly line and less of the stiff joint tolerances that we've been seeing with some of the releases. So with that, getting right into the head sculpt, this looks amazing. This is probably one of, if not my favorite head sculpt for the entire line. This guy looks menacing. You want to talk about how bringing back a vintage figure should be done? Well, this is it. 100%. This is it. So he's not a 1-for-1 with his vintage counterpart, but that's okay. That's okay. Let me see if my camera will let me get a little, like a hair closer without freaking out. So you see here, he's got black paint recessed in the eye sockets along with that vibrant red for his eyes. And this really, really pops. This figure looks alive. Also should be noted, he's got black paint recessed along the jawline, the bright blue finish on the faceplate, and then the light gray for the brain exposure, and then the blue stripe carried out through the back. He's got the peg hole there for his backpack hosing to plug into. And again, this just looks phenomenal. So articulation wise, it's on the standard double ball joint offering. The neck, my neck does suffer from the problem people reported about it being glued. So he almost gets no articulation up. But I don't know that I'm mad about that. It would be nice if it had the loose swivel. And maybe I'll do the fix on some of these guys. But, on a shelf, I'm not going to be able to tell, especially in a diorama that I'm working on. I'm not going to be able to tell. So all in all, this looks great. So moving down the figure, you see here, he comes with a tactical vest already equipped. And he has extra rounds for the grenade, because once again, ammo just seems to be a theme for this figure. So he's got the extra grenade rounds for his grenade launcher. There's like this brown, almost khaki paint to kind of break up this black here along the shoulder straps, and that looks great as well. He's got the tactical pouches, which I'm assuming either store food or, you guessed it, more ammo. And these are painted in khaki as well, and they look awesome. The sculpted tactical detail on this vest too is nothing short of remarkable. Same thing for the belt. He's got tactical pouches. They look like they hold more ammo. and maybe a little snack, maybe a little snacky snack if he gets hungry in the forest. He does have a hook here to help store one of his weapons, and I guess we can pop that in now to see what it looks like. So that fits in there nice and snug. Again, the whole, the loadout with this guy and the fact that he can carry all his weapons, I think they really put a lot of thought into this guy. He also has a Cobra logo tampoed on his left shoulder, and it looks great as well. I mean, this thing really, really pops. The blue paint is crisp. The way that it transitions to the black along the arm, the retransitioning to the blue for the wrist accessory, which I'm assuming might be like a smartwatch or a smart device with a compass. The light gray on the gloves, which even though they're sculpted with that, it's fine. I'm not even mad about that. He's got some knuckle dusters sculpted in case, I guess, he runs out of all that ammo, and he's got to go brass tacks. Same thing on the other side. The blue is super crisp. The transition to the black, seamless. This thing just looks great head to toe. Moving down, he's got another pouch. For more ammo. And then he's got a holster here for his pistol with the extended mag, and that fits right in there nice and snug, so no problems there. I do like that it's sculpted in this light gray to kind of help break up the black, because from the pants down to the boot, it's just literally black, no paint. He does have a couple gray paint applications for the kneecaps, and those look great as well. Once again, more pouches for, you guessed it, more ammo. And again, I love how they play. I love how this color palette plays off each other. Like it blends together so well. Moving down to the boot, this is, I appreciate when they do stuff like this. So the boot is sculpted in a dark gray. It has light gray paint application on it. And then the same thing for the lower boot, dark gray with the light gray paint application to kind of break that up. So all in all, I'll say that the figure is painted excellent. It's just, it really, this guy is going to have a presence on the shelf. Full stop, no questions asked. So with that, we will get into articulation now. Okay, zooming out a bit, let's talk articulation. So again, I really feel like the joint tolerance on this guy are just fantastic. I don't feel like he fights me. So, you know, the shoulder will get you up to about there. And that's just the way that these are, because they have so many moving parts on them. This one does feel a little stiff, but that's okay, because again, it does nothing really impedes the shoulder movement. He's got that butterfly joint, as we've seen from the other, you know, what's become standard run of the mill with the classified line, and it works great. Works great. I love the fact that like the gear doesn't really impede any of the movement. The double jointed elbow works like a charm on both sides. And again, I don't feel like this guy's fighting me. I don't think it doesn't feel like I'm going to snap anything off of the peg, which is great, which is really great. Should be noted as well that he's got the horizontal disc joint on this hand, and it does get really great range of motion to help achieve those dynamic poses. He's also got the vertical disc joint on this hand, and unfortunately, it looks like that one doesn't get you much because of the wrist accessory, but it's still okay. The fact that it's there, I think it counts. So he also has waist swivel, and I'm assuming he's got ab crunch. However, the tactical vest basically renders it almost null and void. But again, it's okay. I'm not complaining because the figure looks so great. So moving on down, he does have the standard, I guess, new hip articulation. I don't know what we're calling this in the community here, but it's that extra hip joint. Also, one thing that I do want to talk about real quick. The transition to the plastic crotch, T-crotch here, is a bit concerning to me. And the reason I say that is because I worry about the longevity of these joints because of all the, like if you're like me and I pose the crap out of my figures. So if you're like me and you're posing your figures, I almost worry about over time what that's going to do to those pegs in there because they are plastic. So, and the folks that have been around long enough, I guess as long as I have, know the standard build used to be a T-crotch fed up into a peg. Inside the torso would split open. There was a hook on the T-crotch where a rubber band fed around a peg. You close the torso and that completed like your O-ring design. They also, when they transitioned to the modern era, they did also keep the metal T-crotch as well. And except they had switched the torso assembly for that. So anyway, I do worry about the longevity of these hip joints. Hopefully they can figure something out. We've already seen a few posts in the groups where people are basically, you know, snapping those things right off the peg. So again, the double knee joint works super duper well. I mean, this thing, you're going to get every pose you need out of this. Same thing with the boot. It has a pivot at the top of the boot joint. The ankle pivots up, or excuse me, down, a little bit of up. And then you also get this excellent tilt joint here. Also should be noted that the leg does have a swivel here. The arm has a swivel here. No swivel for, I mean, I guess this is the bicep swivel now, but there's no joints that kind of pivot through here, which is okay though. It's okay though, because you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna get everything you need out of this guy. So G.I. Joe, I mean, it's back. It's been back. The classified line has been something that has been pretty remarkable to watch sort of evolve as it's launched. But here's what I'm going to tell you. There are only 2 lines that I feel that I get my money's worth every single time. There's been a few. Actually, there's been a few here in this line that have been hit or miss, but not as many as in other lines that I collect. So for the most part, the 2 lines that I still get my bang for my buck, every cent worth, is this G.I. Joe Classified series and the Masters of the Universe Masterverse series. It seems to be, these 2 lines seem to be the only ones that know what they're doing right now. So with that being said, we're going to come back. We're going to see what he looks like standing next to some of his peers, and then we'll get into final thoughts. All right, here he is real quick with his vintage counterpart so you can kind of get a comparison. And it's really bizarre to say vintage counterpart because it doesn't feel like the 25th anniversary was that long ago, but it was. It's been that long that these things have now transitioned into vintage offerings. So real quick, for those who care, feel free to pause and read that file card. This is the file card that this one came with. And again, it would be nice if they brought those back for the offerings outside of just the vintage card back ones. So yeah, so that's what it looks like. And again, you see the evolution. You see how things are sort of progressing. I was one of the naysayers initially when they announced G.I. Joe was going into the 6-inch line. And now I'm running out of room to display these things. So yeah, so that's a quick comparison to the vintage offering. We'll be right back and we'll do some comparisons with other classified figures. Okay, so here he is with a couple other classified figures from the same, I guess, I'm not going to say the same line, but the same theme where, you know, these guys are obviously being sent to Mindark Energon. I'm guessing these guys are being sent to scope or canvas the surrounding areas for where the deposits could be. And then I'm assuming the Crimson Strike team is being sent in to deal with these guys as they mutate, which is a really, just like really interesting concept for G.I. Joe. Anyway, that being said, let me give y'all a quick 360 degree of him just kind of all geared up. You see the hose plugs nicely into that back helmet, the bullet bandolier, the scarf, and I've got him outfitted with the grenade launcher because I'm just a fan of the vintage loadout. So this is how I'll be displaying my units. Oh, before I forget, one thing that I did not have on here was I did not have the pickaxe plugged into the backpack. So now he is all geared up. And I'll tell you, this guy right here, he's probably one of the better offerings in the line to date. Now, let's talk about the benefits, or I should say the positives here. The paint scheme, the colors, all the applications are crisp, and the figure it blends together to make the figure look really cohesive despite the odd, like, in real life, let's just be real, you wouldn't see a blue uniformed trooper in the wilderness. That aside though, right? This is from an era where G.I. Joe kind of started delving into the sci-fi themes and was straying more from like the traditional military-esque brand that it started out as. That being said, again, I still think he's one of the best offerings to date. Now, some of the only negative that I have, and there's 2 of them. Number 1, the neck joint being sort of misassembled and glued where it shouldn't be, and the gummy weapons being warped. So, you know, I imagine it's every single one of these are impacted to a degree. And you know, as consumers, I've been in the Joe game for a while, and I'm accustomed to having to do a paint touch up here and there, but I've never seen it to the point where I'm having to heat up the weapons, put them in the correct alignment, and then flash freeze them and hope that the plastic kind of hardens and takes the form that it's supposed to. So those would be my only complaints. So that being said, I highly recommend this figure. He's one of the best in the line. He really stands out on the shelf, and he's just got this really menacing look. Could you imagine being in a unit and you're on a mission in the middle of nowhere, completely off grid, and you encounter a goon squad that looks like this? Like, you'd probably shit your pants. But that being said, what are your thoughts? Has the windowless packaging impacted your buying habits? Were y'all able to get these? Did y'all have to pay, secondary market price for missing the pre-order window? The other thing too, I guess in closing, is I also received a slew of pre-order cancellations. I had 15 of these guys on pre-order, and I was part of Range Viper pre-order gate. Got caught in the Walmart snare. So I kind of had to scramble to piecemeal together the ones I have. I've got about 8 now, and they're going to go on a shelf, and they're going to look awesome. So again, hope y'all like the content. If you like what you're seeing here, go ahead, like and subscribe. There's really more cool stuff coming down the pike, more videos, more reviews, and we're going to start up some discussions as well. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Till next time, take care. We'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks, everybody.